Hello everyone, this is Set555 and today I will show you how to make a Gary's Mod car with Wiremod and suspension along with steering. Also a way to make it go forward and backwards with brakes. So, first we will need to know which direction to build in. That's what I always do when I build a car. Use the paint tool, select the smile, and right click on the car. Your car has to point this way. And according to the smile. So, we will need a base plate, so I'll just use a 1x2 plate, BHX, this would do. I have S-props installed, but I use this so that people can just follow along if they don't have other mods. I will link all of the add-ons in the pinned comment down below, so that you guys can download them. We will also need, of course, a wheel. We will only need to place one because we will use precision alignment to place it, or to mirror it on the four sides so that weight distribution is even. So get precision alignment out and then select plane, hit pause plus hit normal and then click on the center. Then use plane, hit normal and left click on this side. Depending on where you hit, it'll change the mirrors. This is sort of a mirror axis. So if we do R, well, before that we need to right click the wheel. If we do R, go into rotate functions, mirror glass plane, select our plane, shift left click, rotate entity, it'll mirror it to the other side. You can change the axis by left clicking with hit normal, shift left click, then right click the front wheel, shift left click. Then we need to use a weight tool. Let's set the base's weight to 500, the wheel weight to 275. We'll set it heavy so that other people can't grab your car's wheels with a gravity gun. That's just for that. Usually it's better to just have a lower wheel weight so that when the wheel hits a bump, it can't transfer as much energy to the body of the car. So usually I would maybe set it to like now 50. I used to do 275 all the time, but 50 seems to be a bit more reliable if your base plate weighs 500. Done with the node talk, let's get to the suspension. So, precision alignment once again. And we will need to select point mass center, left click on the wheel, shift left click on another wheel, shift left click on another wheel, and shift left click on another. These 4 points are created at the center mass of the wheel. Shift left click creates a new point, or a new face, a new plane, or whatever that you have chosen. Then we will need to shift left click the base plate. Click R. Go to constraints, rope, make sure the rope is rigid, and the width you can set it to whatever. Set it to like 1, that should do it, or 0 if you don't want to see that, because ropes get a bit messy sometimes at higher speeds. Anyway, we will need to select point 1 and point 5 and create constraint. Point 2 and point 5 create constraints. Do the same with all the other points, and this will create a rope from the center mass of the wheels to the center mass of the base plate. Then use point mass center, left click on this rear wheel, left click, shift left click on this rear wheel, and then select point hit pause and left click here at the center of your base plate in the rear. Then we'll need to click R, grab your rope, constraints, rope, point 1 to point 3, point 2 to point 3. Put the rope here. These ropes are to restrict the rotation, well, the movement of the wheels so that they only go up and down. So now we'll do the same thing with this wheel. So with these wheels at least. So left click on this one, shift left click on this one, then point hit pause, shift left click on this edge. Click R, go from 1 to 3, 2 to 3. Now let's get to the springs. Right click your base plate. Select point mass center, left click on the wheel, shift left click on the same wheel, click on attach. Elastic. With a wheel weight, 32,000 constant and 2,000 damping constant does the job, but it's not ideal. Spring constant is the resistance of force of the spring. Higher it is, the harder it is to make it bulge. Damping is the higher it is, the less bouncy it is. It's sort of the stiffness, and the lower it is, the bouncier it is. So now that we have our 2 points, let's do point 1 to point 2, create entity, and then delete all the points. Shift left click, attach, elastic. Left click, shift left click, attach, click constraint, delete all. Left click, shift left click, attach, R, create constraint. Now, it'll bounce. Thing is, we did not set the wheels spherical. Wiremod wheels aren't perfectly spherical. No wheels are perfectly spherical, unless you make spherical. It'll make the wheels not act like hexagons, or any more than 4-sided shape wheels. So if we use the make circle tool and just left click on it, like so, they'll be perfectly spherical. We'll need to limit the rotation, but first let's just place our steering E2. I will link the steering E2 down below. I'll get an edited version of the E2, but this one should do. So now, with your E2, wire the chassis to your base, the chair to your base plate so that it always teleports to it, and then we will need an airboat seat on the car, just a seat to sit in. We'll need the parent. Left click the seat, right click the base plate. Make sure to right click on the base plate, not on the wheel by accident. Then go into wire, pod controller, like so, and place it somewhere accessible. With the pod controller tool, right click on the pod controller, right click on your seat. Then you will need to wire on your E2 pod wire link to the pod controller. Now we need ball socket advanced. You will need to put in the following settings right here. These are a requirement to make the wheels follow rotation so that you can steer. X minimum negative 180, X maximum 180, Y and Z minimum negative 0.1, Z and Y maximum to 0.1. So left click D2, left click the wheel. Left click D2, left click the wheel. For the front ones, do this. Rear ones, wheel to base, wheel to base. Now we have suspension and steering. If we roll down the hill, yep, there we go. So, now, if you want to modify the suspension at any time, please use the saved version. Don't drive around with it and be like, oh, okay, I need to change the damping. So you move it around, like here, like not on the angle and you just delete the elastic with your elastic tool, which should be here. Don't do that. The wheel will be a bit offset and your car won't roll straight at high speeds, and that is horrible. I've done that before. Don't do that. It's very important to have your car aligned. So now we'll need a way to make the car go forward. We'll use a thruster. Thruster strength. Set like 2000 should do. Place it on the rear centered. With Smart Snap, you can just hold E on a grid, on a dot, and it'll lock onto it. If you didn't know that, some people surprisingly don't know that. I installed Smart Snap when I had about 500 hours. So I won't share my amount of hours. So now, what I did is that I wired the A to W on our pod controller and the B to S on our pod controller. So they'll do W minus 0 or 0 minus S. So now it sets the direction of thrust that this thruster thrusts. So now wire your thruster to a gate. Now your car will be able to roll forward. The problem with thrusters is that it makes your car act like a sled, which is alright in some occasions, but the wheels, let's say they are more of a suggestion than anything. I may have to edit the E2. Alright, there you go. So the sharper your wheels turn, the more precise you can be with movement. Yes, doing finer movements will be a bit harder because you have to time them. But going around corners and doing precise movements will be a bit easier. So, yeah. We will need to install brakes. The latch tool. The latch tool, it connects two valves together, and when it's activated, it welds them. So, we'll do that with the rear wheels. So left click the rear wheel, left click the base plate, left click where you want the latch controller to be. Same thing with this wheel. Left click wheel, left click base, put it where you want it to be. Then wire the activate to space on your pod controller. Activate to your space. This will be a handbrake, so it locks up your rear wheels. Whether you want to skid or not. So it'll slow down your car. So usually what I do to slow down, I just do S. Just so it's not abrupt. So this is a basic car. It'll work. It'll have speed wobble. I'll show you how to solve that later in another video where it's the nerd edition of this video. But hopefully you've made a car that works. So have fun. Goodbye.